This is the Diamond Hogs Podcast with Mason Choate and Robert Stewart.
Welcome to the Diamond Hogs Podcast. I'm your host, Mason Choate, joined by Robert Stewart. We are once again coming to you live from Choate Stadium. It is currently 11:58 p.m., and Arkansas just beat Oklahoma State 20-12. One of the more incredible, insane, not very many words that can describe games that I've ever seen. Definitely the craziest game I've ever covered. A 5-hour-long game, and it's hot in this press box. We're both sweating, and our Twitters are blowing up. There's a lot to talk about on this podcast episode. I mean, I'll let you take it away before we get to everything.
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely the wildest game I've ever covered, and I was at the Texas Tech game to begin the 2021 season. I thought that was the most insane thing I'd ever seen. This topped that. They overcame two different 5-run deficits. They won by 8 runs. How did they do that? Well, free passes were deadly, but you know they hit 7 home runs too. This was. I mean, Michael Turner talked about the first game being one of the more complete games Arkansas has played all year. I mean, save the pitching tonight. That was the most complete game offensively we've seen from the Razorbacks all year.
Yeah, I was going to say offensively for sure. 20 runs. I mean, you beat them by 3 touchdowns, miss an extra point. That's what it was. And it was incredible. The 7 home runs, the grand slam by Jalen Battles in the 8th inning. We'll get to all of that. This game, I mean, we went into it, you and I, thinking, all right, let's get into a 2.5-hour game. We'll get out of here. We'll get home. Both pitchers worked fast, and then Hagen Smith goes an inning and a third, and ended up game goes 5 hours, double what we were expecting. But we'll get into all of that, and before we do, I want to remind you, of course, hit that line. We are part of the Hit That Line podcast network, so go to hitthatline.com, and you'll find the Diamond Hogs podcast there. They got a little tab. You click down on it, and you find all their podcasts. And if you're listening to podcasts anywhere, just type in Hit That Line wherever you get your podcasts. You can find us. You can find all the other podcasts on their network. And we're also on HawgBeat.com. We're on the YouTube. If you're looking on the YouTube right now, you can see Choate Stadium behind us. They got the tarp on the field. It's dark. When we recorded yesterday for the Grand Canyon recap, it was light outside, and now you can see the field a little bit better. And so pretty cool. Better than our studio, for sure. But we don't have the mics. We have to share a mic in here. So if there's like a too big of a gap between us talking, that's because I'm passing the mic to Robert or the other way around. But yeah, HawgBeat YouTube. Go subscribe to the HawgBeat YouTube. That's where we post all the press conferences. We do football breakdowns for new recruits. We post the Diamond Hogs podcast, the HawgBeat Hour. It's all over there. And, of course, subscribe to HawgBeat.com for the best Razorback baseball coverage out there. And Matt Moore State Farm, he helped fund us to get here. We're very thankful for Matt Moore State Farm. And you probably know him because he's an Arkansas alum. And he's your favorite State Farm agent because he helps you get the great rates that you need. He is your good neighbor. And you need those great rates because those great rates help with the wallet. And for us, college students, we need help with the wallet. We have a lot of college student listeners. If you need help, you can go to Matt Moore State Farm, and you can also get the good student discount. You just show them your grades, and you get a discount. And if you're not a student, just drive good, and then you also get a discount with Drive Safe and Save. So just call them at 501-568-3222, and we also got a website. It's insurelittlerock.net. I got the website from Matt. So you can, if you don't want to call, go to insurelittlerock.net or call 501-568-3222 for Matt Morris State Farm today. Okay. I don't even know where I want to start because we're not going to break down this game. We're not going to break down every run.
You know what feels like it was forever ago? Hagen Smith's 38-pitch first inning. Yeah. I can't believe that the Hogs got out of that in a tie game, and then they did, and then he didn't keep going. They were throwing a lot of lefties for a while. You know who the first pitcher not to give up a run was? Zebulon Vermillion. So Smith gave up 2, Taylor 4, Morris 2, Ramage 2. Definitely the best of the 4 there was Zach Morris. He got 3 innings of work in there, settled the game down kind of a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, it was 10-5. They, like I said, they trailed by 5 two different times. It was 7-2 in the third, and it was 10-5 in the sixth. Yes. So going into the late innings, it was 10-5 Oklahoma State. After 9 innings were done, Arkansas won 20-12. They outscored Oklahoma State 15-2 in the final 3 frames. And we're talking about 2.5 hour game. We doubled that.
My biggest thing is that you talked about it 10-5 after 6, but even after 7, so Arkansas put up 3 runs in the 7th. And even after 7, when Arkansas is down 10-8, you're thinking, okay, you got 2 more innings left. Oklahoma State doesn't score anything in the bottom of the 7th, so you're going into the top of the 8th. Arkansas is down 10-8. And in my head, I'm like, okay, I get it, it's close, but what we've seen from Arkansas this season is they're not going to finish this off. They're going to lose by 2 runs. We'll go home. We'll be done with it. And then they score 8 runs. I mean, Oklahoma State fell apart. I think I tweeted it out. Let me try to do it off the top of my head. I think it was 3 hit by pitches, 3 walks. You got it right there. 3 hit by pitches, 3 walks, and then the grand slam by Jalen Battles. There was also a double by Chris Lanzilli, I think, and a single from Peyton Stovall.
Lanzilli doubled in the 7th and scored on Moore's second home run. Stovall kicked things off with a single to left.
Was there not a double in the 8th?
There was. It was Zach Gregory at the end. It didn't mean anything because he didn't score.
Oh, how could I forget? Zach Gregory finally got a hit. We've been talking about it, you and I don't even know if we've talked about it on the podcast, but it's kind of been a thing between us. I predicted this weekend that Zach Gregory would have 4 walks and 3 strikeouts.
Well, you didn't mention it because there was 5 hours of baseball. Like, how can you be expected to remember everything? But you brought this up a second ago. The bottom of the 7th, Brady Tigert getting out of that jam because he walked 2. He worked himself into a jam, inherited a leadoff double, and didn't give up a run. There was that ground ball to second. Moore looked like he was going to try to flip it to second base to Battles to get that out. Couldn't make that play. It was awfully close at first, but he got it done, and then the rally began. Like I said, Peyton Stovall kicking things off with the leadoff single, and then 2 hit by pitches. They change pitchers. They bring in the third baseman. This is the second straight year we've seen a position player come in. Remember Spencer Schwellenbach from Nebraska last year? He was very close to the regional MVP if he wasn't. Probably not, though, because Arkansas won. And then, this guy, Nolan McLean, who hit a home run for the Cowboys, had no control, walked 3 guys, hit 1. They went from 2 down to 2 ahead, and then changed pitchers again. First pitch, Jalen Battles sees absolute tank shot. And we didn't get to see it because we were in the third row of the press box, and there's like windows. You can't really see it on the YouTube here, but I couldn't see it leave the yard. But, I mean, Moore was saying, was it Robert Moore that was saying, like, that's the longest ball we've seen hit all year? And he called it his favorite moment as a Razorback.
Yes. Robert Moore said both of those things. What I really liked that they said after the game was the job's not done. Like, they have this mindset. Robert Moore said it, last year in the Supers, they had their bags packed for Omaha. They were ready to go. And 48 hours later, their season is over. This year, they're not mailing it in. They realize not only are they not going to Omaha yet, they still got to win the regional. So I think that's a good mindset. I mean, now you got to think, okay, they can say that, but you got to prove it. And so that's something that is to be determined. But I was thinking about it a week ago. We're sitting here thinking a week ago. Today's Saturday. It's
now Sunday.
Is it Sunday? Okay. It is now Sunday. A week ago today, we're sitting here thinking Arkansas lost 3 games to Alabama in a row. They went 0-2 in Hoover, and they're not going to host a regional. What is going to happen to this baseball team? And now we're sitting here. They're 2-0 in the Stillwater Regional, just beat the number 7 overall seed in college baseball 20-12. And you're thinking, is Arkansas back? Like, is this the team? Is this the team that we've been talking about all year? This is the peak. This is when everybody's clicking. This team is one of the best teams in the entire country, and they were clicking tonight offensively. Now, we haven't really gotten into the pitching a whole lot because that was an issue, but it's not an issue when he scored 20 runs.
Well, sure it's not, but I mean they have 1, maybe 2 games left in this regional. They're gonna have to stretch for some arms. They used a lot of guys tonight. There was a question asked about, I think it was like, is everybody but Connor going to be available for Sunday's game? And he said probably so, right? So
He kind of said Zach Morris isn't going to be available.
Okay, that makes sense. Morris threw 3 innings. Did a pretty good job there, like I said, settling things down. Connor Noland, we don't expect him to go out. I don't remember how many pitches he threw on Friday, but I know he threw 7 innings. And so, I mean, we're talking about this in the would he be available on shorter rest?
I would have to think so. Kind of, I think the vibe that we got is Jackson Wiggins is going to start Sunday night. So that leaves you with probably Will McIntyre. Will McIntyre came in the 8th inning, and then he pitched the 9th as well. Got 4 outs. So he only went an inning and a third. He threw 14 pitches. So Will McIntyre could start. And I think that's a good option from what we've seen from Will McIntyre, especially as a starter. Another option that you would think is because of he's another guy that they've started is Cole Ramage. He did not look good at all. I mean, Ramage didn't have it. Let's go down the list. Smith didn't have it. Taylor didn't have it. Ramage didn't have it. Vermillion, very short leash, so you don't really know. Morris and McIntyre and a little bit of Tigert are the only guys that had it. I mean, Tigert looked good for a little bit there, but then he got hit and Van Horn wasn't going to leave him in there, and then he went to McIntyre. And
He also walked 3 guys.
Who? Tigert? Yeah. This is as another one of those things with this game. It's like you forget about that because you're like, well, Arkansas hit 7 home runs. That's the headline. That's your headline. Arkansas 7 home runs. They beat Oklahoma State 20-12. 20 runs in a regional against the number 7 overall seed. That is, it's a big deal. Offense clicking. We mentioned it on Twitter. First time since April 5th against UCA that everybody in the lineup had a hit. 5 guys had more than 1 hit. And then what did you say about the guys with 4 RBI?
Michael Turner, Chris Lanzilli, Robert Moore, Jalen Battles. So that's what, 4 through 7. All those 4 guys had 4 RBI apiece.
That is impressive.
I mean, that's the offense that you've been hoping for all year. Like, it's obviously you're not going to score 20 runs every game, but that's the kind of production up and down the lineup that people have expected from this team, and it feels like it's finally starting to show. Now, I did get a question on Twitter. We were talking about this yesterday, like, what is it going to take for you to believe that they've flipped the switch, right? And I was like, well, Grand Canyon's throwing a freshman. Like, it's not all that impressive to score 7 runs against him. To score 20 runs against a national seed, that's impressive. I realized that the last time Arkansas scored 20 runs in the postseason, the next couple of games didn't go well. But, you got to feel pretty good about this right now. And I was talking about, Razorbacks going to be okay pitching. Oklahoma State and Missouri State, whoever wins that game,
we will see. That's another thing is that Arkansas is 1 win away, and they also get more rest than whoever they're going to play, Missouri State or Oklahoma State, which is to be determined. They're going to play at noon on Sunday. You'll probably be listening to this podcast while watching it. That would be awesome. And then the Hogs play at 6 against the winner of that. Interestingly enough, the winner of this regional, as we've mentioned, is matched up with the winner of the Chapel Hill Regional. North Carolina lost to VCU, and their head coach is also suspended for 2 games, I believe. He got ejected, and I think he's suspended for 2 games, which is a big deal because I think if anybody but North Carolina wins that regional and Arkansas wins the Stillwater Regional, they host a Super, right?
I mean, you would have to think that Baum-Walker Stadium gets to host over Foley Field. We talked about this before. Georgia did score 24 runs on Hofstra in an elimination game there. So, everyone keep your eyes on the Chapel Hill Regional. I mean, I know we're looking ahead a little bit. Arkansas still got to win 1 game. I mean, the way I look at it, it's a best-of-3 series against Oklahoma State. You won on Friday night. But yes, and then VCU is the other team. VCU is now 2-0, right? The 3 seed VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University, is on a tear right now. They're 2-0. The elimination game in that regional is going to be UNC versus Georgia. So keep an eye on that, and that team will have to win its next 3 games to come out of Chapel Hill. So you could say that the Tar Heels, who would be slated to host the Razorbacks if those 2 teams advanced, have their work cut out for them. And, I mean, the Razorbacks are in as good a position as any right now. I mean, I know I'm concerned about the pitching, but, you know, the other teams, the Bears of Missouri State, the Cowboys, need to be concerned about their pitching probably even more.
Yeah. I think that Arkansas is set up nicely. The biggest thing was we talked about it because Arkansas's pitching coming into the regional was very skeptical. Like, you're skeptical about it, and now you're looking at it, and this is the best case scenario that you wanted. We talked about it. If you win the first 2 games, you set yourself up nicely, because you are not confident you're starting pitching if you're Arkansas still. Like, I mean, Hagen Smith, an inning and a third today. You did not get great starting pitching. You got a gem from Nolan yesterday, but you can't expect that from Wiggins, to be honest. You just can't. And so Arkansas set themselves up, put themselves in a good situation where tomorrow night, if you can just piece it together, like they don't have to like play it safe, because depending on what the score is. But they could have short leashes and bring guys in to win at all costs tomorrow night, so they don't have to play another game. Like, that's a possibility. Now, you want to be smart about it, because you could still lose and then have to play another game, and you threw all these guys, and now you're screwed. But if anybody's going to figure it out, it's Dave Van Horn. And I don't know, if the bats come out like they did tonight, then it's not going to matter.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you know, I don't know if anybody feels good about Jackson Wiggins outside of the Razorback locker room right now. As a starting pitcher, and, you know, based on what we've seen from him recently, that's justified. But again, if you're going to hit 7 home runs, that should be able to take care of whatever poor quality starting pitching you may receive from Wiggins or whoever gets the nod tomorrow. Because, I mean, again, nobody's probably comfortable outside the Arkansas locker room. Dave told us that he was chomping at the bit to get the start. Doesn't really matter that he's an Oklahoma guy, but you know, at the same time, maybe there's also some extra added motivation there, you know?
Yep. And we will figure that out. We got to wrap this up because I got to go. I'm driving home tonight. It's 12:16 and I'm driving home. It's just a rough situation, but I had a great time in Stillwater. I had an awesome time. Eskimo Joe's. Shout out Eskimo Joe's. We saw Mario Lopez at Eskimo Joe's. That was one of the most unexpected things of this trip. Seeing Mario Lopez at Eskimo Joe's, never would have thought that. And it was a good time. Anyways, we got to wrap things up because, like I said, I got to drive home, and it's freaking hot in this press box. We're both sweating. Like, it's been a night. 5 hours of baseball. Then you think post game, we both write stories, upload YouTube videos, and now we got to do this podcast. Like, we do all this for you listening right now. You're welcome, and we love you guys. Talk to you whenever Arkansas plays next tomorrow night. We'll talk to you after that game.
You've been listening to the Diamond Hogs podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Choate Mason and at DRStew32.